All right, if you've ever tried to build a web app, you know this pain. It's a total headache, right? How in the world do you keep your users logged in without, just opening the floodgates to security nightmares? It feels like this constant battle between making things easy for people and keeping their data safe. So let's just dive right in and figure out what the modern secure solution actually looks like.
And you know what? We're going to build this entire explainer around a question from a real developer. This comes straight from Reddit, because this isn't some textbook theory, right? This is a problem that developers are wrestling with literally every single day. Your access tokens expire, your users get booted out, and then you're stuck in this loop of frustration. So the big question is, what are the actual best practices here?
So yeah, this developer's question, it just cuts right to the heart of the matter. It's all about that balancing act, isn't it? The convenience of just staying logged in versus the absolute necessity of protecting user data. Let's peel back the layers here and see why this is so much more complicated than you might think.
Okay, so to tackle this problem, we've basically got two main tools in our toolbox: access tokens and refresh tokens. Now think of it like this. The access token, that's like a hotel keycard for a single door. It's short-lived, you use it to get into your room, but it expires pretty quick. And that's for security. The refresh token, though, that's different. That's like your special pass to go down to the front desk and say, "Hey, my key expired, give me a new one." It lasts a lot longer, days, weeks, maybe even months, but it has only one very specific job: get a new access token. That's it.
So what even are these tokens we keep talking about? Well, most of the time, we're talking about something called a JSON Web Token, or JWT for short. You'll see that acronym everywhere. A JWT is basically, it's like a little digital passport. It's a compact, self-contained string of text that can securely pass information back and forth. And inside that string is a JSON object that holds claims, basically statements about who the user is and what they have permission to do.
And here's where it gets really cool. A JWT isn't just one big blob of text. It's actually made of 3 distinct parts, and they're all separated by dots. First up, you've got the header. This just says, hey, here's the algorithm we use to sign this thing. Then, in the middle, you have the payload. This is the juicy part. It's got all the claims, like the user's ID, their roles, and super important, an expiration time. And finally, you have the signature. Now, this is the magic key. It's what proves the token hasn't been messed with. It verifies that the sender is who they say they are and that the data is exactly as it was when it was sent.
Okay, so we've got a handle on what tokens are, right? The JWTs, the 3 parts, all that. But to really get it, we need to understand the why. And that brings us to 2 of the most fundamental concepts in all of security. Concepts that, honestly, get mixed up all the time. So, what's the difference? Are we talking about proving who you are, or are we talking about what you're allowed to do? It sounds simple, but getting this wrong is a classic trip-up for so many developers, and it can lead to some really serious security holes if you don't understand the distinction.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Authentication is all about identity. It's proving you are who you claim to be. The analogy? Your passport. It has your picture, your name, it verifies your identity. The tech standard for that is OpenID Connect. Now, authorization, that's about permissions. It's what you're allowed to do. And the perfect analogy here is the visa in your passport. The visa doesn't prove who you are. The passport does that. The visa grants you permission to enter a country. That's what OAuth 2.0 handles. And our access token, that's the visa. It authorizes you.
All right, so we get it. We need tokens. We know the difference between authentication and authorization. But now for the million-dollar question, where the heck do you store these things on the user's browser? This is the great storage debate. It's the absolute core of that Reddit thread we saw, and it's why you see so much conflicting advice all over the internet.
And it really boils down to 2 main contenders: HTTP-only cookies versus local storage. Let's break it down. An HTTP-only cookie has a huge advantage. Client-side JavaScript can't touch it at all. This is a massive win against something called a cross-site scripting or XSS attack. But they have their own weakness, an attack called cross-site request forgery or CSRF. On the other side, you've got local storage. It's, way easier to work with, but, and this is a huge but, any JavaScript on your page can read it. That makes it a sitting duck for an XSS attack, where a hacker could just grab your tokens and walk away.
And this quote from that Reddit thread just hits the nail on the head. User FKIH says, "Never did I say HTTP only protects you from XSS, but it severely limits the attack surface area." And that's the key right there. There are no silver bullets in security. It's not about making risk disappear, because you can't. It's about making your app a much, much harder target. Using an HTTP-only cookie means an attacker who gets onto your page can't just snatch the token and send it home. That attack vector is just gone.
So, after all that back and forth, all the pros and cons, where does that leave us? What's the final verdict? Well, the good news is a really clear, standardized solution has emerged from all this debate. It's the one that gives us the best of both worlds, strong security and a great user experience. Let's walk through exactly how it works.
Okay, check this out. This is the modern recommended flow, and it's slick. Step 1. User logs in. The server sends back both the access and refresh tokens, and they get tucked away safely in a secure HTTP-only cookie. Step 2. Your app makes API calls, and that access token goes along for the ride every time. Step 3. Eventually, that short-lived access token expires. The API server says, nope, and sends back a 401 unauthorized error. Now here's the magic. Your front-end code is smart enough to catch that 401. It automatically and quietly hits a special /refresh token endpoint using that long-lived refresh token. The server checks it, says, okay, you're good, and sends back a brand new access token. Then the app just replays the original request that failed. And the most beautiful part of all this, the user has no idea any of it even happened. It's completely seamless.
And you know, the absolute best part about this whole process is that it's not just some clever workaround that developers came up with. It's actually becoming the official blessed standard. This is the whole point of OAuth 2.1. It's not a radical new thing, it's more of a cleanup. It takes all of these modern best practices we've been talking about and cements them into a single official document.
So what does OAuth 2.1 actually do? Well, it makes the secure stuff mandatory. Things like PKC, which hardens your login flow against certain attacks, are no longer optional. It also gets rid of the old, insecure ways of doing things. The implicit grant, which was a bad idea for single-page apps, gone. The password grant, where your app directly handles the user's password, also gone. And it gets way stricter with refresh tokens. It says they have to be either rotated, meaning you get a new one every single time you use the old one, or sender constrained. The whole idea is simple. Make the secure way the easy way, the default way. So if you're a developer and you've been following along, here's what you need to burn into your brain. This is your takeaway. Use the authorization code grant with PKCE. No exceptions. Store your tokens in HTTP-only cookies. And for goodness sake, implement refresh token rotation. That's it. That's the modern blueprint for secure web authentication. Look, getting your app secure today is a huge accomplishment, for sure. But here's the thing about security. The ground is always shifting beneath our feet. Today's best practice can easily become tomorrow's well-known vulnerability. So the final question I want to leave you with isn't just, is my app secure right now? It's, what's my strategy to keep it secure for tomorrow and the day after that? That's something we all need to be thinking about.